It was 6 a.m. in Zurich, Switzerland. In one of the most expensive hotels in the world, the most powerful men in football were still asleep. Then the doors came off. Swiss police, acting on orders from the United States government, moved floor by floor through the Baur au Lac Hotel, arresting the men who controlled the world's most beloved sport. Some were still in their pyjamas. What those men had been hiding would shock the world. But here is what nobody told you. This was not the beginning of the story. This was just the day they finally got caught. The real story started 50 years earlier, and it goes far deeper than anyone reported. I am Divine. This is Div Tells Dark History, and by the time this video ends, you will never watch the World Cup the same way again. To understand what happened in that Zurich hotel, you need to understand what FIFA actually is. Most people think FIFA is just a sports organization, a committee of officials who write rules and organize tournaments. That is exactly what they want you to think. FIFA today has 211 member nations, more than the United Nations itself. It controls broadcasting rights worth billions, sponsorship deals worth billions more, and the hosting rights for the single most watched event in human history. Whoever controls FIFA controls the most powerful commercial machine in sport. And for 50 years, the wrong people were in control. His name was João Havelange, and in 1974, he did something nobody had done before. He turned football into a business. Before Havelange, FIFA had almost no money. He changed that, bringing in Adidas, Coca-Cola, and the first major corporate sponsors. The World Cup became a global product, a brand, an empire. And empires need to be paid for. According to investigators who examined his presidency decades later, Havelange and his associates allegedly used marketing contracts as vehicles for secret payments, kickbacks, hidden commissions, money that never appeared on any official record. Havelange denied wrongdoing his entire life. He was never criminally convicted. But the system he built, secretive, cash-rich, answerable to no one, was about to be inherited by someone even more dangerous. Sepp Blatter became FIFA president in 1998. Under Blatter, FIFA's revenues grew to billions annually. The World Cup became the biggest event on earth. And the corruption, if the investigators are to be believed, became the system itself. World Cup hosting rights were decided by a small committee of FIFA executives. No public tender, no independent oversight, just votes. And according to the US Department of Justice, those votes were for sale. Russia got 2018, Qatar got 2022. Both decisions raised immediate suspicion among journalists and rival bidders. Blatter himself was never charged in the 2015 case, but FIFA's own ethics committee later banned him over a separate payment to UEFA President Michel Platini, a payment both men said was legitimate. The committee disagreed. 17 years at the top of world football, and when it all came down fast. May 27, 2015. The Baur au Lac Hotel, Zurich, 6 a.m. Swiss police moved silently through the corridors, acting on a sealed indictment from the United States Department of Justice. They knocked on doors one by one. Senior FIFA officials, men who had attended every World Cup for decades, who had shaken hands with presidents and kings, were placed under arrest. Some were in their pajamas. One day before FIFA's presidential election, the timing was no accident. The indictment, when unsealed, alleged a 24-year criminal conspiracy involving over $150 million in bribes, tied to media rights, marketing contracts, and hosting deals across multiple continents. Not allegations from journalists, not rumors from rival federations. Federal criminal charges from the United States government. But how did the FBI build this case? The answer involves one of the most extraordinary decisions in sports history. Chuck Blazer was an American FIFA official, a man so powerful, so embedded in football's global structure that he had helped bring the World Cup to the United States in 1994. He was also secretly working for the FBI. For years before the 2015 arrests, Blazer wore a recording device. He attended FIFA functions, shook hands with colleagues, sat in meetings while transmitting everything to federal investigators. The men who trusted him had no idea. His recordings helped build the case that would eventually bring down some of the most powerful figures in world football. Chuck Blazer died in 2017 before he could be sentenced. But the case he helped build changed everything. But corruption in boardrooms always has a human cost. And in this story, the cost was paid in lives. Qatar 2022, a desert nation, temperatures reaching 50 degrees Celsius, no football culture, no existing infrastructure. Stadiums that needed to be built from the ground up by migrant workers mostly from Africa and South Asia, earning wages investigators and journalists described as exploitative. Reports from The Guardian and multiple human rights organizations documented thousands of worker deaths connected to the construction boom surrounding the World Cup preparations. Qatar disputes the specific figures. Independent investigators stand by their findings. What is not disputed, the World Cup that was allegedly bought with bribes was also built with blood. After 2015, FIFA promised reform, new ethics rules, term limits, transparency measures. Gianni Infantino, the man who replaced Blatter and promised to clean house, faced his own Swiss criminal investigation into undisclosed meetings with the Attorney General overseeing FIFA's case. That investigation was eventually closed without charges against Infantino. Many officials named in the original indictment never faced trial, living in countries beyond the reach of US extradition law. The system was exposed, publicly, globally, undeniably. And yet, the 2026 World Cup is coming, bigger than ever. More countries, more money, more power concentrated in the same organization. So here is the question nobody wants to answer. Did FIFA actually change, or did it just get better at hiding? Football is not FIFA. Never confuse the two. On every street in Lagos, every dusty pitch in Kano, every beach in Cape Town, the game belongs to the people who play it, not the men in suits who profit from it. But the next time you watch the World Cup, the next time you feel that electricity in your chest as your nation walks out onto that pitch, just remember, someone paid for that moment, and it was not always the fans. The documents exist. The convictions are real. The question of whether true accountability ever arrived, that one is still open. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Did FIFA really change, or did they just change the faces? This has been Div Tells Dark History. I am Divine, and we are just getting started.